time to hone in on races 5 through to the end of the card there at Riccarton. We've seen race 1 and an excellent remaining 9 races there. Stephen Hunt, in terms of what's left for us, any additional money leads?
Yeah, for this particular race, Jason, Director's all the rage. Now, this is an interesting runner. About 2 or 3 weeks ago at Riccarton first up, it was quite friendless and still ran second. So basically performed above price or price expectation, you could word it, around Director. It steps up to a mile now, and at $3.20 has been the best back runner and looks set to start favourite over the 1600 metres. Wide Awake, who opened equal favourite Director at $3.40, has been a notable drifter. Wide Awake, $3.80, and could even start $4 plus. Bully Boy looks to be well backed here. Opened at $7 now to $6.50 around Bully Boy for the Ridley stable. Lisa Allpress doing the riding there, one of many good rides for her. And a little bit of speaking for Forge, number 2 in the book, currently $15 and a losing result. Punters suggesting that will peak third up, third up this campaign.
Okay, so this is how the race map shapes for this 5th race at Riccarton. With Forge and Bully Boy sharing the speed, you'd like to think that Director could settle in front of the likes of Richard of York, Fire, Lily and O'Kiwi, therefore get across to quite a nice spot. Ride It Like You Stole It often shows speed. She's too hot to trot as well. We've seen Jason Laking win race number 1, Greg O'Connor. I get the feeling, looking at his book of rides today, that this could be a career reshaping day for Jason. A very important day. Some top rides, not only in this race with Director, but with Tiako racing all throughout. He must be fizzing of what's ahead for him.
Had a good chat to him before the first, and he's excited. He's worked very hard to get the weight down, as we heard from Richard Diddham leading into the first, and he's a quality rider. He's already showed that in race 1. I think he'll do it with Director. Actually made this the bet of the day, Jason. Very good run first up, well schooled at the trials prior to coming back to New Zealand racing. Things just didn't work out in Australia, surprisingly. I know Brian Court was very keen on taking him over there and thought he'd perform way better. He brought him back for this race, and I thought, well, not this race necessarily, but back to New Zealand racing, I thought he was terrific first up. This was second and behind a Flying Lake Chalice. A really good run. Only would need to reproduce this, and should be just about winning today.
Yeah, that's for sure. Look at him hit the line, and we'll pick up the race call.
Lake Chalice in front. Director is flooding home, but too late, and Lake Chalice won the last. Lake Chalice beat Director and Zarista. Fourthly, the Wide Awake, who got going again late. All right.
So a really good performance from Director at the 14 up to the mile here. This is the race that they sponsor as well. Brian Court Auto Express Wash, a new washing opportunity for you, I suppose, with your car here in Christchurch, and it's on your way out to North Canterbury, so make sure you check it out about 5 minutes from the airport. There's a good plug for him, and I reckon Director will win this race. Really hard horse to beat. Wide Awake has to be the biggest threat, others with a chance. Forged, I expect a better performance. I really thought last time it would be ideal. Today definitely will be up to the mile, and on-speed runner. I think Forged is your best roughie in the race, and then you've got the likes of Bully Boy now with Neil Ridley. But best bet of the day for me, Jason, is Director, and I think he'll be winning this.
Thanks, Greg. Yes, I might take the Uber driver through the car wash there, as long as I have a good coffee on the side next time I'm in Christchurch. One of the features on the program is the Inglewood Stud Guineas Trial. $2.40 our Flying Ace, $3.10 Emily Margaret. This is an interesting market, how it's shaping up. Is it all about the one now, Stephen, just looking at how firm it appears with you?
Probably a little bit misleading, Jace, to be honest. $2.40, V310 and $4.80 and Weka Force, its main rivals. They are willing to back the fillies here, and Emily Margaret and Weka Force, Jason, $3.10 and $4.80 respectively. Our Flying Ace, look, it's got supporters. I just wouldn't be surprised if that price of $2.40 and Emily Margaret $3.10 compress. Whether Emily Margaret comes in or there'll be a drift on our Flying Ace from the Tiako barn when we get closer to race start time. The horse they don't want in the top 4 is William James. A lot of punters suggesting they can't find a case where this horse, the Son of Ocean Park, could overturn and beat Emily Margaret this time in, where it was beaten fair and square a few weeks ago. So potentially William James could be a decent drifter from the price it's currently trading at $5. So a lot of traction around Emily Margaret and also Weka Force to beat our Flying Ace, not to say our Flying Ace is cold at $2.40.
Okay, that's really good information around the fillies versus the gelded son of Darcy Brana, our flying ace. Five shows Sabraj Weka Force. Now, Greg, what will happen with Emily Margaret, do you expect today? We saw her come from behind fresh up. We saw her run aggressively to lead and win last time. How did you sort of see her in the map?
I see her going forward, just on that speed map. When it was put together, they wouldn't have known the details about Fire Show. They have suggested they'd like to see this horse ridden in behind, but Emily Margaret was outstanding here. What you need to have a look at, she jumped from the inside draw. It was a really positive ride from Jasmine Fawcett. Lisa Allpress today. She's drawn to the inside of Weka Force again, so I can see the exact tactics adopted in this race here. If you have a look about the 100-metre mark, she actually changes stride quite noticeably and really digs in. She's impressed me immensely in these two runs. There it goes there, and she flattens out again and actually kicks away and beats Weka Force pretty comfortably. I can't see any reason why. I'm with Stephen. I believe that the odds will change here quite considerably. Our flying ace was good at Wingatui. It was on a slow track and it was a nice performance, but I think they'll be very close to equal favourites when they jump here. $12 our flying ace in the Albesti Equiwheel, 2,000 guineas, and Emily Margaret 16 in the Gavel House, 1,000 guineas. So yeah, interesting in terms of those markets, but today I think Emily Margaret will have the advantage again because of the barrier draw. I expect her to jump, be right on the speed and be hard to beat. I've always been a fan of William Jason, but as Stephen quite rightly pointed out, got well and truly beaten by Emily Margaret last time. Coming from behind did Emily Margaret, and yeah, I can see her winning this again.
Certainly going to provide another piece of the puzzle or two for the 2,000 and 1,000 guineas upcoming during Christchurch Casino New Zealand Cup Week. Race number 7, another couple of pieces to the Copeland's Bakeries mile puzzle with the prelude here. Rangipo at $2.90, Son of Maher at $3.50 and Flying Sardine at $4.80. Earlier on you gave us a lead about this race and a runner in it, Steve.
Yeah, I'm not going to change what I'm seeing here betting-wise around Son of Maher. It wins according to Punters, $4.50. Was top fluck when betting commenced Thursday afternoon. Jace, it's now to $3.50, and that happened yesterday afternoon. So we've held that price at $3.50, but it will challenge favouritism in that top line, which is currently held by Rangipo at $2.90, who's just drifted ever so slightly from $2.80. Flying Sardine, who quite often gets underrated by punters, $4.80, will be running for us, but yep, so one horse affair according to punters. Son of Maher, the good thing at Riccarton today at $3.50 in the prelude.
There you go, great stuff. That's the money lead from Stephen Hunt. Any more to add to that, or what's your take on it, Greg?
Look, I just spoke to Matthew Pittman off air. So what's your best today? He said probably Son of Maher, to be honest. 2 kilos off with Tina Komanahi. There's the speed, Flag the Groom Dynamic likely to go forward. I thought Rangipo would be massively improved off that first up run. He is a Derby winner. He's a $26 chance. And the Copeland's Bakery Mile and Jake Bayliss doing the riding today for Tony Pike. Son of Maher with those couple of kilos off. Flag the Groom will be on the speed. I wanted to show you last year's Copeland's where Son of Maher was beautifully weighted for this by the Pittmans. Only had about 53, didn't he? Might even be 52.5. Dead heats here with Shadow Cast, but this just reminds you of how good he can be. His first up run Hastings, we have to rule a line there, Jason, because this is how he can go, and he went terrific on this occasion.
Son of Maher, Shadows Cast. Oh, that's very close. Son of Maher, Shadows Cast. There's a slice
occasion, but that just shows you how he races best, and he's only won a couple here at Riccarton Park. When you've won at that Group 2 quality level, then he has to be the horse to beat today. He's got all the class. The track should be perfect for him, and yeah, I expect from the handy draw of Barrier 4 that he'll be really hard to beat. I still went for Rangipo to beat him. Flying Sardine, you're right about her. She is always under the radar, and the other one you have to accord a good chance to is Flag the Groom. I expect Lisa Allpress to be really positive on the Wilson trained runner, and it'll be right amongst the finish too.
Yeah, I was pretty keen on Rangipo. Of course, you're taking him a little bit on trust because he hasn't won since he won the New Zealand Derby, but now that money for Son of Maher, that's a really big lead. The last of the features that we'll preview on the Punters Lounge Live is the 9th on the program, and it's the Waimakariri Businesses North Canterbury Cup. $3.90 Blue Lagoon, $4.40 Centessa, $6.50 The Man. Who Dares wins an Alfie. Need a bit of help here, Stephen, because you know Blue Lagoon got it all her own way. She did it well last time. What's the money telling us?
Well, back on Blue Lagoon, look, she got away with murder, which you touch on, Jace, 2 weeks ago at Riccarton. when she led them up, no challenges and sprint home, and she did the business, and she was cold that day. I pointed it out on the Punters Lounge that she was a notable, friendless runner. Couldn't write a ticket on her, but she did the business. I think the fluck was 3 out to 4 on that occasion. 390 we've put up. She holds that line. There is admirers and people reinvesting who potentially did 2 weeks ago on Blue Lagoon, but the horse they like is the man who comes out of that race where Blue Lagoon won 2 weeks back. 1800 on that occasion, steps back over 2,000 metres, and with natural, probably more speed put into this race purely down to more numbers in this particular race. So the man is the one they wanted to get on earlier during the week. 880 was the top fluck. It's now at $6 in that third line of betting and shares it with Who Dares Wins. There's one other runner I just want to quickly mention, Riccarton, number 9, $18. If this race was to jump right now, it is a losing result. You look back on its second up form, it's had a win and a placing, and it finds itself in that mode today. Riccarton 18s.
In race number 2 at Hastings, we saw a lot of green in the Form Pro speed map. Here we see a lot of red, which is not an ideal scenario, Greg, although for a jockey, it presents an opportunity to potentially dominate it, much like the jockey of Blue Lagoon did last time, and now it's Jake Bayliss's turn.
Yeah, exactly. This is a hard race to map, isn't it? Who Dares Wins last time, just ridden in behind and probably over-raced as he can do, but I don't doubt for a minute that it'll be very competitive here. There's a whole heap to have a look at here, Jason. Alfie's run I really liked, up to 2,000 metres for the first time today. I spoke to Michael Pittman about that earlier in the week, and he said perfect for her now. She's a strong 7-year-old mare by Ifraj, and she makes up really good ground in this, but Blue Lagoon was a narrow victor over race rival Opahi Jade here, so this is the form race. There is Who Dares Wins up alongside and just battles the last bit, but as I said, did over race, and Opahi Jade is charged down the outside. The man's right there. Alfie getting through late in the piece in the different colours, of course, of the daffodil colours, but I thought she was great late, and I reckon she's a terrific each-way chance today, Alfie. And when you see my multi, when we put up the way to spend 100 here today, I think she's a terrific place chance at least. Blue Lagoon could only win. It's about a $21 chance in the New Zealand Cup. This is another stepping stone. The North Canterbury Cup won last year by a locally sourced. So Alfie each way for me, ahead of Blue Lagoon. She can only be improved off that run. Who Dares Wins because I think if the front is there, that's where Jason Lakey might go. He's already proved successful in that regard today. And the other one you have to consider is the man. He's from the right stable, the Andertons, and just keeps racing great. And Corey Campbell claims the 3, so there's a few ticks there. But Alfie for me on an each-way ticket today.
Okay, Greg, in summary for you, $100 to spend with your best and also best value in there. How did you see the program overall?
I had a play in race number 1, so Dark Poppy's done and dusted. All up, really keen on the chances today of an all up. High Segur in race number 3. They're telling me this horse is exceptional. Has had a look at Riccarton as well, along with stablemate Chella, the 2 in the book. But High Segur, this one out of Pins and Needles, which is the mother of Azavant, which is the mother of Avantage, who won this race last year. So I'm happy to go with the multi there into Alfie for a place. And I reckon Beneficial was a terrific bet in the last race, Jason. Really good run first up. Stakes placed last season. Beneficial for mine to take out the last. Best bet of the day comes up in the form of Director in race number 5, and Odisha is the best value runner of the day. First up for the Pitmans in race number 9. Just hearing through too, there was one horse that slipped. They think it's just a race incident about the 600-metre mark, so they're just going out to have a look at that part of the track, but don't anticipate any problems there, Jason.
Okay, thanks for that information. Here are the pictures of what you've just discussed there, Greg. And you can see a delegation of jockeys, stubbornary stewards and also trainers just checking out the area of the track where it was reported that slip occurred.